Label Radio.
Had a dope conversation offline about radio in general, and
how radio sucks.
And he was talking numbers and whatnot, and I found it. And you guys, whoever's been listening to White Label Radio for 9 years, we're 9 years strong, and I don't understand why radio wouldn't take a show like Julio G's Westside Radio or White Label Radio and say, "Yo, you got something going on? Here's some time. Y'all do what y'all do,
right?
And let us cook." Like he just said, they would bring you in the building and tell you how to cook your food that you already made,
right?
Why you need me then? You can have Joe Blow from Idaho. And that's what they get. They get all these kids, and I say this all the time, they get all these kids from Michigan or Texas to come on LA radio. And I think it's disrespectful because I'm from here. My mom went to Fremont High School. My dad went to Jefferson. My great-grandmother went to Jefferson. I am from these streets, so you should have an authentic LA dude in the building at all times.
For sure.
That's talking that talk. Whether they're talking Gangstar, they're talking Toddy T, they talking whatever.
Yeah.
You got to talk... if I said, yo, I went to Louisiana High School, there's going to be a lot of LA cats that either went there or know somebody went there, and they're going to relate.
For sure. Automatically.
And that's the biggest problem with LA radio.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. I don't even listen to it anymore, actually. So it's like, I pop in from time to time, but it's like I was showing you off the air. It's just like the ratings in LA for radio and anywhere else really is... Hip-hop radio's dead.
Yeah.
There's not even, like in LA, you ain't got a top 10 hip-hop station. Even though you hear them say we're the number one. So I'm gonna show some people that are listening right now, so I'm gonna teach you some radio game. When they say they're number one at something, they're not gonna tell you ever they're number one in Los Angeles as a radio station. They gotta say we're number one in hip-hop because there's only 2 hip-hop or 3 hip-hop stations in LA.
Yeah.
So if they're number 15 and the other one's number 17 and the other one's number 30, the guy that's 15 is saying we're the number one, but you're really 15 in LA.
Yeah.
You're the number one compared to the other 2.
Yeah.
And that's how they get you to think, oh, number one in LA for hip hop or long day. Number one, you're not number one. You're nowhere near number one.
Yeah.
You're number 15 or 18. Right now in LA, your top 10, your top radio stations, Power 106 is probably number 20 in LA. 92.3 the beat is like 15. 93.5 K, they're like 30.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not to knock them, but it's just the reality of it is they're not doing it like when we did it. We was top 5.
Yeah.
When Baker Boys, Theo, Julio G, that's top 5 radio all the time. We never were out of the top 10. That never happened in my time.
Yeah.
We were always in that top 5 or that top 10. But it's just different today. The kids don't need to listen to the radio to get hip hop. They have so many other outlets. Like White Label Radio, like other situations where they go listen to what they want to without commercials, and have to hear. They want to hear the songs they want to hear. They don't want to be digging and waiting for Tribe Called Quest when they want to hear Tribe Called. You know what I mean? So it's changed a lot, and that's why I don't think they've adapted to that change. And then, to be honest with you, what's really happened is that the Hispanic music has really took over too, and they just don't know how to adapt to that right now because they're so down south right now, and it's like that's cool, but Bad Bunny's murking the streets. You know, Nathaniel, he's killing the streets. It's a lot of Hispanics that are really doing damage when it comes to. That's why you listen to Power 106. The other day when I did listen to him, I listened to him playing a lot of Hispanic music. I said, oh, you guys are gonna have to adapt because that's what's happening. It's like that is taking over, and you know that street. I wouldn't say that street, but like a real down south, crunky down south stuff that they do. That's cool, but it's not popping in LA like it used to. Yeah, it's not that. Things are changing. Things are changing. Things are changing for sure.
So let's take it back. I know we've been all over the place or whatever. We never talked about the Muggs and Cypress Hill connection. You introduced Muggs to Cypress Hill, but my question to you is, why didn't you ever officially join the group? Why did Mellow Mayonnaise didn't officially join the group? Because at the beginning, they were kind of all together.
Yeah, well, it's because we used to all just run together. We didn't really have our groups broken down yet. Like, we didn't really know. So you got to remember, before Cypress, Mellow blew first.
Yes.
Right. So Mellow was the one that kind of got the spark going. Like, oh, it can happen. Yeah. Right. Muggs, in between this time, was starting to work with 783. He's starting to see some success too. They're in the Color soundtrack. Yeah. They got an album on Geffen. or at that time, I forgot if it was Geffen at that time, but I think it was Geffen that they had their album out on that. He worked with the Bomb Squad. You know, he kind of had what he was tasting it something too. Yeah. Right? I'm on 1580 K-Day. I'm tasting something too. You know what I mean? We're all
so everybody had their own little things going on.
We don't really know what we're doing. We're just like, oh, something's happening. You're doing that. I'm doing that. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, oh shit, Melloe just blew up with a record on the radio. Oh, now what do we do? Oh, we got to go on tour. And okay, we got to figure that out. How do you do that? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, a lot of people look back on it today and may say, oh, Cypress Hill, they didn't have it all together in the beginning. None of us really did. Honestly, I had not even listened to any of the Cypress Hill songs until I bought the actual CD. It wasn't like Muggs was playing it for us. Or like,
wait, so you wasn't around the sessions and you wasn't around them?
No, really? Because I was like,
doing your own thing.
Yeah, I was on tour with Melloe. Or 1580 K-Day days also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, we would see each other in situations, of course, and hang out. But it wasn't like he was playing me the album or stuff like that. He kind of kept it to himself, and they were working on this project. You know what I mean? We didn't know that they were going to do Cypress Hill. You know, Cypress was the block, but then they created the name Cypress Hill, and then that became, okay, we're going to do this group. You know what I mean? Like I said, it wasn't all super planned out. It was just we just kind of went.
Kind of fell into it, and that thing blew up. Melloe blew up. Right. You did your thing.
We start right,
and you had your own thing going. So it's like, I got my own thing. They got theirs. And
right. So and whatever we could do to help each other out, let's figure that out. And that's what we've done to this day. Like when I was on 92.3, The Beat, you know, Cypress Hill didn't get a lot of radio play on Power 106. They got a lot of radio play for me.
Yeah.
Because Muggs is my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Be Real and Center my friends. So I wanted to help them out on Cypress Hill, on Temples of Boom, Cypress Hill 4.
Yeah.
I played a lot of those records. You know what I mean? There's Psycho Realm. I broke Psycho Realm in LA for Be Real. It's like, so we you know, we're friends. You know what I mean? I don't have to be hanging with you every day, but as my boy, as Muggs, is whatever he's doing, I want to support him. You know what I mean?
Of course.
We just always have been like that with each other as friends. Even if we don't see each other or whatever, it's almost like we just have that bond because we all started together as kids, and we were just kids, bro. And we just
dope. That's kind of dope because I mean, usually you see that everybody is a group, they can do it together, but to see all the little fires that go separately and then come together,
when they need to, when they need to, If Muggs calls me, needs something, I got him. If Be Real needs something, you know, we back and forth. If I need something from them, they
can you call Muggs and tell him to come be on the show?
I'll tell him.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't like doing interviews a lot, but
I bumped into him at an event, Contact High event or whatever, for the photo gallery, and I was like, been on the show. He's like, yo, hit me up. I know what that means.
He doesn't like doing it. He doesn't like doing interviews.
Man, I love Muggs.
He's more quiet
though.
That's why Muggs likes to work. And show his work. You know,
I'm a fan, dude. I created this show because I'm a fan of the music, and I just want to talk to guys that lived it. Like I said, I said at the beginning of this show, I said you were one of the guys that inspired me to do radio, and I want to give you your flowers because I watched you. I used to intern for Mike Nardone at KXLU. So Mike Nardone, the Baker Boys, of course, the Wake Up Show. And I watched all you guys do this, and I'm like, when I started my radio thing, I'm like, I want to be like those dudes because it seemed authentic. And now talking to you, it was organic. That's why I asked you, do you have any shows, past shows recorded? He's like, nah, because I was just in the moment and doing it.
Yeah,
it sucks because now looking back,
I wish I would have recorded everything.
Yeah, but when you're in the moment and not thinking about making some money at this or going big, you have those.
Right. And you're not thinking, oh, this is going to be talked about 30 years from now when people are going to really want to see this.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think like, I'm talking to Rakim, I should be recording this right now. Yeah. I'm just talking to Rakim because this is dope. I'm talking to Rakim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's I'm more conscious of it today, but at the time it was kind of, I had so much going on.
Yeah.
Because I produced and did my own show. It wasn't like I had interns.
Yeah.
I had an intern to grab the phone from time to time or grabbing something to eat, but I didn't really I ran my own show. That was what made me different also from other radio DJs. When you listen to other radio DJs, once again, for people that are listening, I'll give you a little get down. You'll guys like me just run off of what I do. Like, I control the mic. So I talk. Whatever I'm saying, that's what I capturing you with that.
Yeah.
Then you have other types of people that they're radio DJs, but they have the bells, the whistles, the crowd thinking it's over, it's produced.
Yeah.
A lot of produced. And then I'm talking to the girl over here, and then the guy over there, and then we have
it has a lot of people, elements,
so that's a different way of doing radio. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying the difference between a guy like me and other people that do it that way. I've always been like, I capture you as what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't need the bells
Storytelling,
and whistles. Yeah. I get you with the music. I get you with the drops. I get you with what I'm talking about. And I may talk about some street shit. I might talk about some thing about being a father. I might hit you with some about my daughter. So I was always, it was very real with me. That's why people really related, because it was, my mom, rest in peace, she told me my first day I was going to start on the radio, I didn't know what I was going to do because the Baker Boys were hot, Theo was hot, and I was coming in trying to figure it out. I never had been on the radio like that. DJing, I was on the radio, but I never held down like my own radio show. So when I had to do that, that was nerve-wracking because these people were already popping. I'm known from K-Day, but I didn't. In the 90s, it wasn't carrying over like that. These guys were already hot.
Yeah.
My mom told me that first day, she said, you know what? I'm going to just give you some advice. Why don't you just be you and you won't feel like it's work?
100%.
And I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I went and did. When I did what people knew about where I lived, people knew about my daughter. They knew her name. They knew all these personal things about me. So that's what I used to get them. And then when I started saying 92.3 in Spanish, that brought the Hispanics now. And so
you started that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the first person to ever do that. So I
didn't know that. That's dope.
Anybody you hear saying anything in Spanish and saying them numbers, they got that from me.
Wow.
The first person to put the kid on the radio was me. When we used to call my daughter at night, and I would play that phone call because I would call her about her homework or what she did. She never really knew she was being recorded, but that was another reason I would use that to get the females. And at that time at night, they coming home from work. I used to know like right when they dropped that because I knew that they would relate to that. So that's what I mean about radio. You gotta know how to do things to relate to different types of people. So what I did was I opened up who I was. Not when you listen to radio DJs, you can't just be like, hey, I wonder where Homeboy lives. Because you don't think like, but you know when Julio G, where's he from? He's from Linwood.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know that. You heard it a gang times. He's from Linwood. He's from Linwood, right? So that's what I'm saying. But you don't really hear, where's Big Boy from? You don't really know because he doesn't say I'm from Carson, or he doesn't say, right? He doesn't tell you that. So I'm not trying to say nothing bad about Big Boy. That's my friend. I'm just saying his type of radio was comedy, and my type of radio was more like personal. To know me personal. That's what I mean. The difference in when you're doing radio. So.
And you let's talk about, because we can talk, man. I looked at your Tony interview, 3 hours.
I could tell. I
watched all of it.
We didn't even really get to it.
Y'all didn't even tap into everything, and I'm damn, 3 hours. I was like, yo, and I watched it all. Thank you. Literally, Emma came down. I was like, yo, how long is this interview? I was like, yo, it's 3 hours, and I was like an hour and a half or whatever. So, let's talk about Eazy E, man.
Okay.
I'm going to say this, and I say this all the time, and Niff will attest to this. I think Ray, everybody will attest to this. I think Eazy that doesn't get enough credit for what he did as far as being a mogul, entrepreneur, and all that. And I am disappointed that a lot of our OGs that are in a power and a position to tell this story has not told this story the way it should be told.
I think the same thing.
Okay.
I think that he has not gotten his true respect, and I think it has something to do that because he passed away from AIDS.
Yeah,
I think it's just that allegedly, you know what I mean. Okay. So I just think that kind of throws people off a little bit, maybe, and they don't feel like they want to. I think I always wonder if Eazy E would have been shot and killed, would it have been different for y'all? Would y'all been, oh man, Eazy E, you know what I'm saying?
Do you think that's it, or do you think
I think that might be part of it? I think that some people just are very uncomfortable with that because it's an uncomfortable conversation for certain people, and I don't think they like I said, if he would have got shot and killed like Nipsey Hussle, they probably would have been parading him over. Oh man, that's my boy, and woo. That's just kind of like, because I never understood why he doesn't get more respect. Because look, let's keep it real.
Okay.
Dr. Dre and Yella are not gangsters.
No,
they're not.
No.
And that's no disrespect to them, but they're just not. They're not G's like that.
Yeah.
So that when you're in Compton, either you a gang bang member or anything outside of gangbang member, you just live in the hood. That's me. I live in the hood. I'm not a gang member from my neighborhood. That's really, because I grew up in the hood all my life. It's like I need people to really understand that. There's a lot of people today that false flag it. And they're doing too much of that now. It's like, yo, dog, you gotta be from the set and put in the work. If not, you can't just be the hangout buddy that comes and kicks it, and now you from the set. And it didn't work like that in my time growing up. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, I don't think Dr. Dre and Yellow were ever on that level. They made good music. They did what they were doing. Eazy brought that. Eazy brought that look. Yeah. Eazy's concept was NWA. Eazy had all that. Because ever since Dr. Dre stopped doing Wrecking Crew and he started working with Eazy, he never changed back to the Wrecking Crew sound.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Because he put you on your trail of what you were supposed to do, bro. And that's what Eazy E does. He doesn't get respect for that. People think that he needed to write all the lyrics. At the end of his career, he was writing his lyrics. When I worked with him, he wrote his own lyrics. But he didn't write in the beginning because he wasn't the rapper. Yeah. He wasn't trying to be the rapper. He just got pushed into that situation from the Boys in the Hood record. But then that took off. Once again, they didn't know that. No. Because look, a lot of people don't know that Eazy had put out a guy named Rendezvous before that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
no, I did not.
There's a guy named Rendezvous that was on Ruthless Record. People don't know that. So Eazy had been trying. It wasn't like Eazy didn't. You know what I mean? It's he didn't know. But when it popped, then he knew. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I got one, and that's when it went from there. Because like I said, that's why I said they don't give him respect for that. They don't give him his respect. When you see Ruthless Records, before, what would they call labels? G Street Records.
Yeah.
Sunshine Records.
Yeah. Mercury Records. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ruthless Records. What came after Ruthless? Death Row.
Yeah.
Bad Boy. They all had to get a name.
A menacing name.
Right. Yes, they all had that came from Eazy E. That wasn't no Puff Daddy. That wasn't no Dr. Dre. That's Eazy E did that. He brought that concept of Ruthless Records, that whole trip. And that's why everybody copied it after that. To this day. Yeah. So Def Jam, you know what I mean? It's like they have to have that kind of name. Yeah. Now it ain't like the old
strong
days.
Name like that.
Yeah, look at them old records, man. Go back to 1972 and look at them labels. Where them labels, they wasn't really, the name didn't mean much. It was just a little logo. It didn't. It's the artist that meant the music, right?
The name is powerful now,
right? But now Eazy E brings that into the game. He brings that whole thing, and then he brings like I said, and then on top of that, he discovers Bone Thugs and Harmony, which have just changed hip hop forever. Their whole style. He brought that into the light. When Dre and them were popping, he came back without Dr. Dre and dropped Bone Thugs and Harmony, which is, if you listen to hip hop today, what are they rapping all like?
Wait, so wait, I'm glad you brought this shit up. Because recently,
Migos is crazy.
Okay, so they're crazy. You know exactly where I was going with this, right?
Your double time rap, you created that,
was
bro?
It Offset or they said that they created?
It wasn't Offset, it was the other one. It was
what's the other one?
What's the other one? Offset and
Takeoff.
Not Takeoff.
Quavo said that Migos created the double time rap.
Skirt.
And Busy Bone, which you never see a lot of Busy Bone because he's doing his thing or whatever. He said, I'm just gonna leave this here because it's not right. Because I guess one of the internet places said no, Bone Thugs and Harmony created it. How do you feel when you hear that type of shit?
It's very disrespectful. When I seen that, to Bone Thugs, I think it's very disrespectful. Like they need to apologize for that. Yeah. Honestly, they seriously need to apologize for that. That's disrespectful, man.
Very disrespectful.
You don't back ride on somebody's style and then try to like sell it to this new generation that might not know and think, oh yeah, no, I'm the one that started that. Yeah, because y'all ain't really gonna know. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. We're not done with hip hop. We're not that old, dog. So we're gonna call you out on that. No, you did not create that style. You have been influenced by Bone Thugs. Now, you may have not been influenced personally by Bone Thugs yourself as Quavo, but Quavo, you've been influenced by other people. That's why you double time style that was influenced by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
Period.
That style came from
you can go back to their first record and you're not gonna. You created that? How?
So it's funny because
it's funny.
It's funny because also there was another cat, and a lot of you young cats might know. Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler had a offbeat flow as well too.
So did DOS Effects.
DOS Effects as well too. Yeah, so Migos is far from anywhere near a
Fushnikins.
Yeah, anywhere near that. So when I heard that, I thought that was funny. So
yeah, they don't know their hip hop.
No, they don't.
They don't know their hip hop.
So back to Eazy E, the Straight Outta Compton movie. How do you feel about Eazy's portrayal in that movie?
I don't think they portrayed his genius. I think that movie is more of a Dr. Dre Ice Cube movie.
Okay, so
it's their
the winners. I've always been told the winners write the story. And if you look at the landscape, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube are winners. They're on TV, right. They're whatever, right. And everybody else is kind of an afterthought. So
that's what I thought about. I like the movie though. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It wasn't whack or nothing. Yeah. It was good. I mean, you can't fit their whole story in 2 hours. It's just impossible. So there's a lot of stuff that was missing from it. I just thought they should have showed a little bit more of Eazy's genius in the making of them.
Yes.
Right? Because Ice Cube, when you listen to Ice Cube, he was from CIA. When you listen to Ice Cube's first record, he don't rap like that.
He signed the Beastie Boys.
He's like the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Right? We were all trying. We were all trying. Yeah. No disrespect to him. I love Ice Cube. He's a legend and he deserves his flowers all day long. No doubt about that. I'm not saying nothing to take away from that. I'm just saying Eazy kind of put them into that field, bro. Yeah. Because they weren't doing that before that.
Yeah.
Cabbage Patch from the Wrecking Crew wasn't that. CIA, that wasn't that. Yellow, whatever. None of them were doing that until Eazy brought it into like, we gonna make it into this.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I say he doesn't get the credit, that he deserves, I believe. You know what I mean? And I know I've heard Ice Cube also say that too. You know what I mean? He gives him his respect too. That, that Eazy deserves too, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows that was around. Eazy had good ideas. That's one thing about Eazy, rest in peace. Another thing I learned working with him was that he had really good ideas. He always had ideas, that guy. Like, he might have been the best rapper, but he would tell you like, you ought to change that and do this. Maybe you ought to say this. Oh, you ought to wear your thing like this. Or he always had, like, his brain was always like going into what the next thing was to do. So he was already talking about video games back then, like a Grand Theft Auto. That was in the process as when he passed away.
I remember you speaking on that in one of the interviews or something like that. So it was in the process.
Yeah, it was in the process, and it was a video game that had to do with lowriders and going to the Super Show and get carjacked and.
So before Grand Theft Auto,
way before any of that. There wasn't even video games at that time like that.
Wow.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time. Then he had the speakers. He was doing the Eazy E speakers.
Oh, really?
He had some speakers with the same company. He was doing some speakers and a sound system thing for the cars, which was ahead of his time before dub and all that. That's why I say Eazy was ahead of his time. He was doing that before that. And then he wanted to connect like the video game with the speakers. And then we had, right before he passed, we already had started talking about doing a mixer and the turntables. Because he wanted to do it like me and Tony G create our own setup. Okay. How we would do it.
So right? Like a controller type?
No, like a straight mixer and turntables.
Mixer, separate. Okay,
we were going to compete against. We were going to compete against Technique and all that. We were like, we're going to do our own shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's how Eazy was telling us. Like, man, fuck that. Y'all DJs, fuck that. Fuck these mixers. Why? Because he would wonder why they don't give us those for free. How come you got to buy that mixer, man? He's like, they don't give you those for free? I'm like, nah, they don't get, man, they ought to be giving you 10 of those for free. You Julio G, you Tony G, what you talking about? Oh, man, fuck that. You guys got to make your own mixer.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. How do you do that? Man, come with me. Jump in the car. We going to holler at these people. And they took us down somewhere in El Segundo. We went and met these people. First time I ever seen like I want to say, okay, I don't know how long this big would be, but I want to say, let's say it's a 100-inch TV that was this thin.
Yeah.
This is a 94. Nobody had ever seen that. We didn't know none of that. We went into this place and he showed, look at this TV. This the new shit. And we were like, whoa! Like we had never seen something that thin.
And now look at the TVs
now. Look at that's what they now, right?
Yeah.
That's what. But I'm saying that's how ahead of his time he was.
He was a
yeah, and that's why he's like, you gotta holler at them. We gotta get this turntable and this mixer, because we gonna kill the game with that, man. Yeah, he was ahead of his time, dog. He really was.
So I've asked this question a couple of times. You know, I've interviewed Jerry Heller a couple of times. I actually had the last living interviews with Jerry Heller, and I asked Yella this. I've asked Code 187 this as well too. Do you think NWA would have been as large or in the position they were in without Jerry Heller?
Let me see.
And what impact do you think Jerry had with the group?
I think that they wouldn't have had it at that time.
It would have took longer.
It would have took longer. Yeah, I don't think that. Because one thing that Jerry was my manager for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jerry till when he passed. I mean, but we had a friendship though. It was like he was my manager, but it wasn't like my manager on paper. Like I never signed a contract with him. That's how cool we were, because when I met Jerry was in the 80s. I met him with NWA because he brought me those records.
Yeah.
That's how I met Jerry.
Okay.
And then Jerry was the one that he was the one that Well, I wouldn't say he convinced us to go, but he had another partner, and that became our manager when we had the Kid Frost stuff. Mm-hmm. So his friend was the manager of Kid Frost at that time, and Mellow Mayonnaise.
Okay.
A guy named Maury Alexander. And so we worked with them. So that's how we kind of would talk to Jerry through Maury sometimes. So we always had a relationship with Jerry. But working with him, it's like, I'm going to put it to you like this. Okay, so he did all my radio deals.
Okay.
All my radio negotiations that I've ever done on 92.3 The B and 93.5 KDA, anything I've ever done in radio, he negotiated.
Wow, didn't know that.
My publishing deal, he negotiated for me. My record deals, he negotiated for me. And that was separate from Eazy. That was separate from everybody. Mm-hmm. That was like when Jerry would work for you, he would work for you. That's what I loved about Jerry.
Okay.
So one thing about him, like if he worked with Melloe Won and he was negotiating your deal, then everything is blocked off. Ain't no calls coming in. And all he's focused on is
getting your deal done.
Melloe, we gonna get your deal done. Let's go talk to these people. Let's get the money that you need. Let me holler at him. I'll come back to you. And that's what he did for me on the radio. Like they offered me, they offered me $50,000 my first year on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And Jerry and I told him I can't talk to you guys because you have to talk to my manager. And so that's when it changes the game, because when they knew that they had to talk to him, they're like, oh, they had a different respect.
They straighten up a little bit, huh?
They do, because they respect who's your representation.
Is it because he's white and Jewish?
He is. Well, it's because he's Jewish and he knows the game. So you
because he knows what he's talking about.
You know what he knows what he's talking about. So you're not gonna money game him.
I got you.
He knows what you make. He knows how much you make in a profit.
And how much it's worth.
What's it worth, and it breaks down. It's all numerical.
Yeah.
But we don't know that, right? So Jerry walks in and he says, and I was gonna take the 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take 50,000. Man, I was like, man, I'll take that.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, hold on, let me talk to him. So he worked out a deal for $87,500.
Wow.
And then he only charged me, I think, like $2,000 to do that. He didn't even charge me the whole 10% or nothing.
Jesus.
Which was cool. He was, like I said, we were friends. I've done a lot of stuff for Jerry. When he needed me and he needed anything from me, we were like, one time there was a fire by his house. I called him, hey, Jerry, got my boy down here my partner next door, got the truck. I'll go down there and get your stuff, dog. If you need that, I got you. We'll go pick up your stuff right now. Because he's an older man. Mm-hmm. Oh, Julio, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. You're like a son to me, man. Like, thank you so much, man, for even thinking of me like that. But we're okay right now. But if something happens, I'll call you. That's how cool we were.
Yeah.
Like I was, he was an older person, so I would always look out for him and call him and talk to him. So we had a different type of like relationship. So he would work out deals for me and just charge me. Yeah, just give me 2 G's, man. Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah.
Anybody else, he'd charge you though. But the thing about it, like I said, you have to have representation, and Jerry was just able to get me my money every time I needed it. So you need to have that. That's what I'm saying.
Going back to the original question, do you think they would have been as
They
large?
needed him.
They needed him.
Because he's the one that got them into Atlantic. Yeah. He's the one that brought them Priority. Eazy E didn't know the dude from Priority.
Yeah.
He didn't know them. And they didn't have anything either. They were just a distribution company that was just doing the California raisins.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So imagine, Jerry had an idea to bring
they needed each other.
They needed each other. And look how much money he made for Priority.
Yeah.
Straight up. Jerry Heller made them rich. Brian Turner and them got rich off Jerry Heller because they weren't doing nothing of that. They got Dub C after that. They got Ice Cube after that.
No Limit.
You're right. No Limit. They got everything after that, but they weren't doing that. That's not what they were doing. So that came from Jerry Heller. So Jerry connected Eazy with them to get that situation going. Then Jerry brought DOC and JJ Fat to Atlantic and got those deals. One thing about Jerry, I'm gonna give you some advice to people that are listening or artists to understand. You can't always just be lucky like I was to have met a person on that stature and that level. It doesn't happen like that. So my first advice is like, don't ever treat anybody wrong because you never know who they're gonna be tomorrow. So always keep, even the lowest person you may think is nobody today, be careful because that person could be that big manager tomorrow that you're gonna need. So, but I was lucky that I knew Jerry. But what I've learned from him is that if you say that's my manager, and that manager can't get on the phone and call the owner, then you really, really don't have a manager. What you have is a person that says they're a manager.
Yeah.
They don't have the relationships built yet to be able to. Now, Jerry, I called Jerry one day. Hey, Jerry, man, they've been, jerking me around for my money at MCA, man. I cannot get these people to send me my check. Okay, what's the guy's name, bro? His name is this. Called me back 15 minutes later. Your check's on the way. And I'm like, hey, man. How do you do that? I've been calling these people for 6 months, dude. How did you call them in 50? Because you got to know who you got to call.
Got the right ones,
right?
Yeah.
And you have to scare them too. You got to get this guy's money, bro, because it is what it is. Now, a game that he showed me too is like labels like to hold your money because they collect interest on it.
Interest on it, yes. It's a bank.
I learned from him.
It's a bank.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
So he's like, because I'd be like, why can't they just don't pay me, Jerry? They got the money. Well, they want to hold it for a few months, man, because they make interest off your money, believe it. They made money off it already. They made money off it. Yeah. Exactly. And they got 20,000 groups on here. So imagine how much they're making, a couple $100,000 a month just on interest.
On interest, yeah.
Right. So and then holding your money up, right? Another thing he taught me was they never give you all your money up front because they don't want you to make a move on them. That was a key one that I learned.
What's that mean?
That means like when I would do like music and produce music, like they gave me like if they owed me 30,000 for the tracks, they gave me 5 at a time. Because if they gave me the whole 30, I can get that 30 and flip it into 60. So they'd rather give me 5 at a time because you can't make a move on them
you're gonna,
at 5 at a time.
You're going to go buy some clothes and be done with it. Yeah, I got you. And you'll need them other 5.
I learned that from Jerry Heller, rest in peace.
Wow.
He taught me that. And I was like, oh, that's why they do it like that. That's why they give you some of the money. Yeah, he got a $1 million record deal. Yeah, but they ain't just write him on no $1 million check. They gave him 100 bands first.
Yeah. And then a little 50 here, a little 50 there.
Yeah, a little 50 there as you go.
And piecemeal him. Yeah, okay. I got you.
Let me know what you spent it on, and I'll take it out your budget. That type too. So it's like you're not really touching the money, so you can't make a move on them. So I learned that from Jerry. That's why having a manager is very important. And who's your manager? Who can they get on the phone to make things happen for you? And that's very important. So I tell artists all the time, try to do your best to try to find a legitimate manager that can make it happen, or start with your boy. Your boy might be that person and groom himself into that. Don't let him go too early just because you don't think he's the big wig yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes I met some dudes came out the bottom and created 1 or 2 groups and they blew. That guy became a real big manager. You would have never thought that.
I mean, look at Top Dog. I mean,
Top Dog,
exactly. is a prime example.
Right, exactly. So you know what I mean? And I go back with them too, you know what I mean? They started way in the beginning with them, so same thing. So that's why I tell people, people have their opinion about Jerry Heller, but he was always solid with me.
Yeah.
Like he always got me my money. I never felt like he ripped me off in any kind of way, or he was out to get me, or I never felt any of that. Actually, he taught me so much not to get got. Like, hey, don't do that. Don't do this. Like one time, I would have like problems at the radio station sometimes because of my personality. Sometimes I was younger and I was into my whole hip hop thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to push the limit and whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would get in little arguments with them, and then one day he called me and he was like, "Hey man, I need you to do me a favor." He said, "Do me a favor, man. I need you to shut the fuck up." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" He goes, "Next time you got a problem with them, talk to me, man. Don't talk to them. Don't speak a word to them. Let me talk to them. I know how to talk their language.
Yeah.
So if you have a problem, call me and let me explain it to them in my language so we can get through this, because you're about to mess up your next year contract. Stop. Slow down, bro."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But like I said, he was like a father figure in a way too, because he would treat me like that in a way, like his son in a way. You know what I mean? Like sometimes he had to get off on you, like, "Hey, dude, come on now, you're gonna mess up the money."
So with that being said, how do you feel about his portrayal and the way people talked about
hated
it? How do you feel about it?
I'll tell you what he felt, because he told me when that movie came out, he had a 2-hour conversation with me about it after that movie came out. He was so mad. He's still suing that movie after his death. He has a lawsuit against that movie still, even after he died, because he told me, even when I die, this lawsuit will continue because I'm not going to let them do that to me. He just thought it was a bad portrayal of him. Like, it was like, you guys are making me out to be the villain in this whole situation, and all I did was try to help Eazy.
Yeah.
So,
and what he said when I interviewed him the 2 times I did, he said Eazy was my guy.
It was.
So I looked out for Eazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's okay. That's my point. So that's why I say, when he worked for you, he worked for you.
But he didn't work for the other group members.
He didn't. That's why I'm saying,
so
I don't knock him for that.
What they expect?
What did they expect? Right? Or not even what did they expect? They had to understand that.
Yeah.
Because Eazy was the guy, bro.
Yeah.
It was his label, and this guy was managing his label and the group. But it was really managing the label, making sure the day-to-day situation is going, and how the money flows and how the deals go, because that's a lot. It's intricate.
Well, what Yella said was, and I don't know the deal they had, but he said he was the label, which is Ruthless. Him and Eazy was kind of ruthless, and then he's also the group's manager, which is a conflict of interest if he's the label owner and the manager, and that's where the gray area.
Well, I don't know if he was the label owner because Jerry never owned Ruthless Records.
He was just the representative for the label.
It was always Eazy's label.
Okay,
that's a fact. There's no Eazy and Jerry's label. There was no such thing as Eazy and Jerry's label.
Okay,
that was Eazy E's label,
and he was just managing.
Anytime Eazy E signed a check, he had to sign it with Eazy. It wasn't like Jerry could sign his own check and just start spending money.
Okay,
he had to have a second signature. That was always their get down.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So it was Eazy's label, but you know, Jerry was a big part of it because the persona they made of him.
Yeah,
he didn't want to be that dog. He had been Jerry Heller managing people before Eazy E. You know, but that the whole Ruthless Records and you know the name and everybody rapping about him and you know Ice Cube and that made him like this persona thing of you know Jerry Heller. So
why didn't Eazy fuck with Jerry at the end though?
I think that Eazy. I just think that they had their run.
It ran its course.
It ran its course. I just think it ran its course.
There was no beef though, was it?
I don't know if it was a beef. I would say it was like. I think that Eazy thought that Jerry was taking some money from him at the end, and
which everybody in the group was saying that from the beginning. So
yeah, but I mean, I think it was something to do with
a specific thing,
some specific stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
not the overall.
Not the overall.
Okay,
not the overall because it was some specific stuff that happened, I believe, between them. But I think that Eazy had talked to Dre already before, and people didn't know that. People didn't know that they had talked, and Dre didn't want to be on Death Row anymore. He wanted to find a way out of it.
Yeah,
and Eazy was like, but he would come back without Jerry, and that's so Eazy already knew that because he talked to Dre. And then just the other day, somebody posted a picture on YouTube of a picture of Eazy E and Ice Cube at a club in New York, which is in the movie.
Yes,
they run into each other
with the two bodyguards and the whole thing.
That's a true story.
Yeah,
that's a true story.
He was waiting for his car. It was snowing. He had a jacket. Yeah.
So that's a true story.
Okay.
So now he's at that club because he tells me this story the next day. Because he flew from New York the next day and we did the Ruthless radio show. So he runs into Ice Cube. That's a true story. And he was there with Biggie and Puffy.
Yeah,
that's who had invited him. They ended up leaving, and so they left him out there in the cold. So he ended up walking a few blocks to his hotel, I think, and that's what got him sick again.
Yeah.
So he was coughing when I seen him. He's like, "Yeah, man, I didn't have my jacket, and I had to walk a few blocks, and blah blah blah." But he runs into Ice Cube coincidentally. He happened to be out there in New York at the time, renegotiating his deal, and no people didn't know this, but Eazy E had a 50-50 deal with Sony.
Oh.
That was one of the first deals like that, where it was like 50-50, right? And so he was over there selling some of our groups that myself and Tony had, some stuff that he had through other people, and renegotiating for Bone. So he had a whole new deal set up for him. So that's what he was doing in New York, and runs into Ice Cube. So he tells me, "Yeah, man, I ran into Ice Cube last night, and man, we gonna do NWA, man. He down. I just gotta get Jerry out the picture. I just gotta get do it without Jerry because he ain't gonna do it with Jerry." But at this time, Eazy wasn't talking to Jerry right now. At this time, when I talked to him, he had already been not talking to him for a month or two.
Okay.
Because Jerry was looking for him. He would call me because he knew I was with him.
Yeah.
But I stayed out of it. It's like, I don't know, I haven't seen Eazy. Well, tell him to call me and blah, blah, blah. So they already had like their little falling out. But I think it was Eazy was leaving. He wanted to separate.
Yeah.
So when that happened, we already had worked on the motherfucking reel that came out on his last album.
Yes.
Okay. So that song is credited as Yella's production, but really we started the record. He just took the music off because I think we had a sample and he redid something and did his own music. So he ended up doing the song, but we all worked on that song at Eazy's house together. But that was actually to get NWA kind of going.
That was kind of like
for him and Ren together,
to spark it,
to spark it. To hey man, we working on music like that. That's what he told us in the studio. Hey man, I just want to get something going. That way, Dre and Q see we working, and they gonna get. He wanted to get them like excited, a little
motivated.
Bit, like, hey, here a couple of songs, me and Ren now. Y'all got to jump on this. You know what I mean? That was kind of his way of pushing it forward. I guess that was his way that he knew how to work.
Like an olive branch saying, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah. But they already were down to do it. And we had a good time recording that song because, Raina was there, Yella was there, Eazy was there, myself, Tony. We were just clowning that whole day, just laughing and making jokes, talking about the old days. So we had a good time recording that song. But that was supposed to be part of the push into doing NWA. So, at the end, Eazy and Jerry were not cool. Or Eazy wanted to be out of the situation with him. But like I said, I just think that it ran its course. I think Eazy wanted NWA back. He wanted to do it, and Jerry was in the way. He was in the way. Yeah. And unfortunately, he had to let it go. And I know it was hard for Jerry because Jerry had been down with him for so long, and Jerry showed him the game. You know what I mean? Like Jerry showed him the restaurant game. Jerry showed him how to get himself out of, how to get his license, how to this. There's a lot of stuff that Eazy used to tell me that Jerry got him out of because he had those connections. You know what I mean? So it was too bad that it went down like that, but.
Everything happened for a reason, though.
Happened for a reason, and I do want to say I think a lot of people think that that Jerry may have had something to do with Eazy's death, but I don't believe that because Eazy had been coughing already before he stopped talking to Jerry.
Okay, so
he had this problem of him coughing for some months before he passed away. So it wasn't like, like Jerry, they split up and then Jerry somehow got him infected in 2 months he dies and no, it wasn't like that. I don't even think Jerry's that savvy to even trip like that, like to even do it like that. You know what I mean? So
is it true that this is a Tony A interview I was looking at, and you said that Eazy said that he had to go to Tamika's doctor and he didn't want to go there because he may try to kill me.
No. He said that about Jerry's doctor.
It was somebody's doctor.
He said he was at Jerry's doctor first.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, man, the doctor said he's gonna kill me, man, with the medicine he's giving me. So what I think he meant by that at the time was that they were giving him antibiotics. Mm-hmm. So antibiotics brings your immune system down, so that's going to get you even sicker. So that's not what he needed.
No, he needed.
So that's what I think
immune booster.
That's what I think he was trying to tell me when he said, "I think they said he gonna kill me," because Eazy used to joke around and like he had a way of talking, right? I think, man, say I went to Tamika's doctor, man. They said the last doctor gonna kill me, man.
Okay.
And so I'm like, kill you? What you talking about? I thought it was funny. Like, what you mean kill you, bro? What you talking about, right? It just sounded way out, but. Like I said at the time, I didn't know that he was dealing with this. I just thought he was going to go to the doctor and be out like me and you were talking like any other day, bro.
Yeah, like normal, yeah.
Right. So that's why a lot of people don't understand that. It's like, I just took it like, you going to the doctor? All right, cool, man. I'll see you Monday.
Because we all get sick. We all get the flu.
I'm going to go to the doctor, bro. That's what he told me. That's what he told me that Saturday night after he seen Ice Cube that Saturday night at the show. Hey, I'm going to go to the doctor on Monday. My bronchitis acting up, man. I catch you at the studio Monday night. All right, cool. Easy later, man. See you Monday night. But that was the actual last time I seen him was that Saturday night. We talked on the phone. We talked on the phone from the hospital, maybe 4 times.
Did you go see him?
I didn't. I couldn't go see him. Well, in the beginning, I didn't because I was working. And then when I did try to go see him, I couldn't get in to see him because it was too late. They wouldn't allow us, you know, so we were at Cedars-Sinai. But like I said, when I was talking to him on the phone, he was still talking about business.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you to do this, and can you go make this song and grab this one? And I was still doing the radio show while he was in the hospital. So, like I said, I didn't think.
You didn't think it was real?
I got to go over there and see him. Like,
you think
it's going to be over in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's nothing of that. It was till somebody told me, hey, I called Ruthless. The girl answered the phone and says, you better go to Cedars-Sinai, man. Eazy's going to pass away.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And boom, we ran over there, but we couldn't get in to see him. But yeah, that was a tough time, man. That was a tough time for us because we were so happy. We were gonna do this. All our groups got signed. We were just Eazy was about to buy us a house.
I was about to ask you that.
Everything was about to happen for us.
The lot next door was.
Yeah, he never ended up buying it. But yeah, he wanted to buy us that whole thing next door, build a house.
And that was in Woodland Hills.
That was in Topanga Canyon.
So just imagine right now. Them shits. I live in Woodland Hills, so them things right there,
balling
$5, $6, $7 million. Oh man,
so Eazy, I miss Eazy, man, and I wish that we can get down to the bottom of like what really happened to him because I do believe something happened. Okay.
I
think there's some foul play in his death. I just don't believe that.
But we're gonna talk about his legacy. I think that he doesn't get enough credit for what he's done for hip hop. I'm not even saying West Coast because that's just so small for hip hop in general. Because like you said, the Puff Daddies, the Master P's, the Sugs, all took his blueprint and ran with it.
How to be independent.
Yeah, look at Cash Money. Their deals and things they did is based on what Eazy did. So I think that those guys those particular individuals I just named need to give him his flowers directly and say, hey, I learned this game from him.
Master P gives him a lot of love.
He does.
He respects.
He
gives a lot of respect, man.
So
I got love for him for that. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think he deserves a lot more.
So you work with am I wrong or did you work with Death Row on Too Hot for Radio?
I did Too Hot for Radio, and I also did the Little Ghetto Boy remix for their greatest hits.
How did that work out? Because I know that they had a big thing about Eazy, and it was a lot of point of contention, and Eazy was your boy, and then you went on there. How did that work out? Because I'm interested.
Okay, so Suge Knight knows some people. Suge Knight used to play football at Linwood High School.
Okay,
and I'm from Linwood too.
Yes.
So he knew some people that I knew from the streets.
Okay.
They happen, they just know him. So he had heard my name through my friends. So when I end up meeting him, he's like, "Oh yeah, you my boy, Peoples, right?" So we were already kind of cool. I never had an issue with Suge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He actually would fuck with me. You know what I mean? And so, like I just. I never had an issue with him. That's what I'm saying.
Even though he had an issue with your boy. Even though
he had an issue with Eazy, but Eazy had passed away already. So when Eazy already had passed away, I had moved on and have my own radio show.
Yeah.
So now it was West Side Radio. So I still had to support Death Row because they're part of the West Coast.
Of course.
And so he knew that. So I will tell you a funny story. I might have shared this before, but when we were doing the Ruthless Radio show, Suge went up to the to 92.3 The Beat, and he told them to tell Eazy E stop playing his music. And the station got scared. They were like, "Oh, we don't want no problems with this guy."
Yeah.
And Eazy was like, "Man, fuck him. Man, he ain't gonna come up here no more. Man, he ain't gonna do shit." And so they're like, "Yeah, Eazy, we're worried," and blah, blah, blah. Man, fuck him. So when we walked out the line, he tells me, "Hey man, I want you to play all Death Row this Saturday." And I'm like, "Oh, Eric, come on, man. Let's not start all this. Nah, I'm serious, man. I ain't bullshitting. I want you to play the whole motherfucking Death Row catalog." And I'm like, "Are you sure, bro?" He's like, "Yeah, I want you to do it." And now, that's my boss, so I had to do it. It's his show. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right. So I played I'll tell you, I played like 40 minutes of Death Row, right? Now that was the beginnings of West Side Radio, where I just done 40 straight, right? Nobody had really done that, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what happened there. And then so we ended up, Eazy didn't care. He wasn't scared of Suge on that level, so he didn't care. So I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, so Suge comes later. Yeah. Later, the Death Row came, and I was just cool with Snoop too, and I just gave them a lot of love. So I think that Suge he wanted to fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, it's my boy. We ain't got no. You know what I mean? I know you were Eazy and all that, but you know my peoples too, though, dog. And you playing our music. And so now we got cool. So Suge calls me, and I got cool with Reggie. And so I was cool with Reggie also. They used to run with Suge. I was cool with all, because I'm from Linwood and then no Compton people. And once we all kind of know
next
somebody.
Door to each other.
You kind of know
if
people.
If you know circles, you know those.
You know those people. They know somebody you know. You know what I mean? So Reggie too knew some people I knew, and they all vouched great for him. So they same for me. So hey, my folks. All right, cool. And so Suge called me and he wants me to do this. He wanted me to do that Too Gangster for Radio thing, the cover.
Yeah.
But the thing was, the reason why was because he wanted it to be authentic West Coast. He's like, "Man, I don't want Big Boy and I don't want none of that. I want you, man. I need you to do this." He was in jail at the time. And I got to thank Suge too, because he actually paid me for that Little Ghetto Boy remix while he was in jail. Wow. One day I'm going to post the check with his signature and the date. He signed that check for me in jail. So he made sure I got my money for that, and he paid me very well for that remix. So I got to give him mad props for that. So that's why I say he was always cool with me like that. So I couldn't just hate on the dude and you know what I mean? And Death Row was popping, and I had to keep the West Coast alive, and we had to keep it moving. When we got into an issue was when that record came out. I didn't know that what was inside that cover, what he wrote all inside of it, was in there. I didn't know that. I just took the picture for him because I didn't know that this had anything to do with this and Snoop.
Yeah.
So the night that I have them come on, I had a Death Row night on West Side Radio. and that's when Hutch was working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me and Hutch from Above the Law, we go back to the 80s. So that's my boy. Him and KMG, rest in peace. Those are good friends of mine. I consider them like friends in the industry. You know what I mean? So whatever, if Hutch calls me for anything, it's 100. So Hutch calls me like, hey man, can we come through? You know what I mean? I got this record I worked on and I'm working with Death Row. And of course, Hutch, you can come on and do whatever you want to do. So we had Death Row night. So that night, it just got crazy because first of all, I remember sitting there when I opened the shit and I started reading it, and I'm like, oh no, I'm on the radio at the time.
Now you're in the middle of some bullshit.
Now I'm in the middle of some bullshit.
Yeah.
Now this goes on, right? And so now I'm not reading it on the air. I'm reading it off the air, but I'm sitting at the desk like, oh no.
So for the people that don't know what you're talking about, explain to them what it said inside.
Inside of the cover of Too Gangster for Radio, it has something to do with somebody dissing Snoop Dogg. And somebody saying some bad stuff about Snoop Dogg. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, what it fed, because I had to read it again, but it was something.
You guys can find it online, but that was it. And Julio G wasn't a part of it. You just did the cover.
I just did the picture. I didn't know what was going to happen after. This is months before. I done the picture 6 months before. Right? I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so, man, I read this. I'm like, oh, man, I felt like he set me up in a way. I'm like, oh, Suge, man, you put me in a twist because I'm good with the dog pound. And then, boom, the phone, at that time in 92.3 The Beat, the phone would go off the hotline number, and if I hit the button, it would come out on the speaker, unless I picked it up by hand. But as soon as I seen it go off, I just felt like, oh, let me pick this up by hand because there was people in the room.
Yes, yeah.
So I pick it up, and the first one was Nate Dogg. What's up, Julio G? What's up, Nate? How you doing, man? Hey, man, ask any of them motherfuckers in that motherfucking room they got any problem with me. That's how it started. That's
just
exactly,
like that?
That's exactly his words.
Wow.
Ask any one of them motherfuckers in that room, they got a fucking problem with me. And I'm like, hold on a second. And I had to put him on hold. I said, hey man, I got Nate Dogg on the phone. He want to know any one of y'all motherfuckers got a problem with him.
You actually
I told him because that's what he asked me to do. I fuck with Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
So they're like, Gangster Drayster was there. And he's like, oh, let me holler at him. So he jumps on the phone and they have a cool conversation. It wasn't, because I'm listening. I'm like, okay, is he going to get off on it? Because, he had hit him with that golf stick already. This is after.
Oh, this is after that. Okay.
So I was like, I didn't know what their relationship was. But it seemed like it was cool because it was no problem. And then I want to say that it might have been Big U that called next. And then Big U called, and I already had a relationship with Big U because of his little brother, Draws. So he passed away, rest in peace. But I had done this tribute for Draws on the radio one day, and that's how I got to meet Big U through the phone when he was in jail.
Oh, okay.
And so this second time he called me, Julio G, it's Big U. Check this out, I ain't got no problem with you, but holla at them motherfuckers in there. You better tell them that nobody better touch Snoop Dogg, because if they touch Snoop Dogg, they gonna fuck with all of us. And I'm like, oh man, this is getting bad. Now this is not on the air. This is all
on the phone.
But now I'm running a radio show, and it's like, oh shit, this is getting bad. And then Snoop texts me, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is getting horrible, man. Fuck, man. So I end up having to tell Hutch, we got to cut it short, man, because this is just getting too intense, and you guys are putting me into this. I got Snoop on this side, and then Death Row's calling me on this. It was just, and it was funny because when I went downstairs, they were both calling me on the phone. Snoop's calling me, are they threatening you, cuz? Cause we got your back, cuz. And then Death Row, hey, is he threatening you, blood? Cause we got your back. And I'm like, y'all got me in the middle, man. I'm like, oh, come on, man. So I had to tell Snoop and Suge, hey, I love both of y'all, but y'all gonna have to keep me out of this, man, because this has gotten out of control. But that all happened just from that one cover you talked about and having that on Death Row.
I was wondering, because when I seen that, I was like, wait, he's with Eazy. Why is he on this cover?
Yeah.
Actually, the cover is hard, though.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great cover.
The cover was dope. The cover was dope.
And another part of that story, when I shot that cover, I almost went to jail that day.
What? Why?
I don't want to get too deep into it. But me and my girl got into a fight at that photo
because of the
girls.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, but that was a whole other story. But luckily, I got out of that. And then Suge Knight looked out for me then too. Oh. I got your back, dog. Anything happen, I got you. I got a lawyer for you. I got Yeah. It was all good. So I have no problem with Suge. He never came at me in any kind of sideways way, and
you still talk to Suge?
If I can,
have you talked to him?
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Has he been locked up?
Since he's been locked up, yeah, it's been a while since I talked to him.
Okay.
But like I said, I never had a problem with him, and he always looked out for me, dog. He always was 100 with me. It's just that whole thing with the cover put me in a bad situation. But still, I still got love for the guy.
That's dope. That's dope. It's unfortunate, but my uncle was Terry Carter.
Okay, so let me tell you a story about Terry. So
Uncle Terry.
so Terry, he had a shop in Inglewood, right?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
so he built my lowrider.
Okay.
Yeah, my first '63 Impala.
Let me guess, he overcharged you.
No,
okay.
He was good. He was great. Back 10 took me, man.
Okay.
Nah, but I love Terry, man. He was a really good guy. Rest in peace. And his whole family, man. I got number love for all of them. They always treated me with so much love when I would go over there. And man, we had some good times.
It's funny. He's my dad's half brother. My grandfather had, he had another family somewhere else. Yeah. So he's my dad's half brother. And I met him towards the end when he had after the car shop. And I did some work for him, engineering some projects, whatever.
Yeah.
But
lovely person, man. God bless him always, man. And his whole family, good people, man.
Yeah. So we could, you know what? We can talk forever, man. And this is one of those things that I watched the 3-hour interview. I was like, yo, like he can talk.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. But before we get out of here, man, I've been saying this, and Nympho will attest to this. I've been saying that I don't think Latinos get enough love in hip hop like they should. Same way we talk about Eazy, the Latinos. We go all the way back to Crazy Legs and
Prince Ken Swift.
Yep, Ken Swift and those things.
We can go back to Tito from Fearless 4. We can go back to Whip a Whip.
What's the
Whip Puerto Rican Cold Crush.
Cold Crush, yes.
You can go back to Ruby D. My name is Ruby D, and I'm a Puerto Rican.
Yes.
You might think I'm black by the way I'm speaking.
Yes.
There's a lot of Charlie Chase and
what. How do you feel about that? Do you feel the same way? I mean,
I look at it like this. It's like I never got into. Okay, how could I say it? Like I got into hip hop. I'm very proud of being Hispanic. You know what I mean? Like I never hid that, especially with my name. I wanted people to know Julio G.
Yeah.
You have to know that I'm Hispanic.
Of course.
I didn't want to hide that. But now when I came into hip hop, that wasn't the popular thing to do, though. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like some Hispanic dude is like the dude, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. But we had us out here. There was some of us doing it, but we've done a lot of work for hip hop. A lot of behind the scenes stuff that people will never know about what we've done as Hispanics for hip hop. So it does bug me because I do see people that get online and they start trying to say, "Oh, y'all still in our black culture and you guys are like appropriating," and it's like, nah,
not for the Latinos. No, everybody else.
We've done our own thing. We've done our own thing with it. We've done our own thing with it, and we've shown and proved our own thing with it. Like when it comes to breakdancing and that culture alone, you have to give that
the graffiti, breakdancing,
the breakdancing, the music, the producing, and all that. And then when you see what we done with the Hispanic stuff, we made it our own. We added our own twist to it, and that's what hip hop is about. That's why I say, to me, it's like I'm proud for Hispanic people. I'm happy that they have people like myself, Tony and Big Pons and B Reels and all that, so they could feel like their representation in it. I appreciate that, but I think that it still has to do with this thing where it's like you can be Latino to a point, but then when you really want to play with the big boys, all that doesn't really matter. It's like, how good are you?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I don't like to lean on because I'm Latino, because it's Latino, because I'm Latino. You're supposed to support me.
Yeah,
like,
still gotta be
it
good.
has nothing to do with that.
Still gotta be good.
When I used to break dance, when I was a kid, we used to go at it, and it was about the battle. It wasn't about because I'm Hispanic or I came with some cool gear.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. So for me, I've always wanted to compete in the space of black culture. You know, like I said, I don't take nothing away from it, but I love black culture. I love to compete in black culture because I love the level that they play at.
Yeah.
They make you become and have to be better. So that's why I love that part about black culture. I don't ever feel like I'm stealing or appropriating black culture.
Not.
I don't feel like that. I feel like I bring my own thing to the game, but I do respect it though. I do say that I want to be respected by the greats. I want to be in the level. I don't want to just be a Latino that's popping with the Latinos. I want the black community and them to say, I fuck with Julio G.
Period.
I respect that because what he done, because it ain't got nothing to do with his color no more. It's got to do with like what he did,
his skill and his style,
right? His skill and style, and what he did for the community and all that. You know what I mean? So that's why I say I don't like to use that easy way out of I'm Hispanic or I'm Latino. That's cool, dog. I mean, to a point, but when we get up here to play for real, dog, it don't matter no more. Like there's a friend of mine named Ronnie King. He's a keyboard player, right? He's the whitest dude you meet from Orange County. What's up, dude? He's played on all the Tupac records.
Okay.
He's an amazing player. But when Ronnie gets in the room and works with us, he just he'll get on and I say, Brian, can you do something? I need something like really funky, and he'll just he'll do it. Yeah, and it'll just be perfect. I'm like, damn, this dude, he's not white no more. Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's what I mean about love about hip hop. Yeah. That's what I love about hip hop. When you get to that core of like the real greatness of it, we don't really care what color you are. It doesn't. That's secondary. That's what I love about hip hop itself. Like if you're really good, man, nobody cares what how many Asian DJs you see out there that are killing it. Yeah. It don't matter. I don't look at him as he's a Filipino DJ. I just look at him like, damn, Qbert is a bad motherfucker, man. Yeah. Damn, this dude is bad. Damn, that dude is Redmatic. Oh, that dude is. It doesn't matter. That's why I say to people, it's like, you can use that to a point, and that's cool and all that. But if you want to really be in hip hop and do it to that level, all that color stuff doesn't really mean nothing. It's how good you are.
100%.
And what you gonna bring to it, what you gonna add to the game, So that's what I'm. But I love my Latino people, and I appreciate all their support.
We can be on for hours, man. I'll have to bring you back in for part
Absolutely,
2 of this
man.
or whatever, man. Julio G, man, like I said, it's an honor. I
appreciate you.
Westside Radio, Ruthless Radio. I grew up listening to you. I pattern a lot of things I do now based on what you did, man. So I want to give you your flowers now.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you coming through.
Congratulations on White Label Radio, because it's not easy to do what you're doing.
Yeah, 9 years, man. We almost at 10. 9 years in November. So yeah, we grinding, man.
No, you're doing it, man. I appreciate it, man. I like to see you guys, doing your thing. That's why I had to come represent with you, man.
Hell yeah. So where can we find you? I know you're Julio G.
Julio G 1580 for now, and I do have like a YouTube channel that I'm doing probably starting next month, and then I'm gonna start getting back into the interview game and start doing some things that I wanted to do. Okay. I just took a little time off because I've been working in a whole other industry. Yes. So but we'll talk about it next time.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah. So that expect some things coming, late this year, early next year.
And you never know, Julio G might be on the White Label Radio Network at some point.
Might be in there. Yeah, you never know.
Yes, sir. We trying to get everybody in here to do it real big. So
yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate you coming through. And anytime. Let's get into another joint that you produce, or maybe you don't remember this song, maybe or not.
Oh, let's
get it.
Oh,
hold on. He cheated. He look at the paper or whatever.
White Label Radio.